Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Another beautiful Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen. Episode 67. And we're here with my longtime friend, my old coach, Eddie Cha. We're going to get into some beautiful combos here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get that posture up, take a fucking slurp of whatever you're drinking, and let's get serious for the day, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, very good. For the sponsors, real quick, for this episode, we got Optimal Carnivore. These supplements. These are the brain. This one's the Brain Nourish. They have all sorts of different ones. This one's for mood, your memory, and your focus. And the ingredients in this one is New Zealand grass-fed brain, 1,500 milligrams. And then the other ingredient, there's only two ingredients, is lion's mane, 1,500 milligrams of lion's mane. So you get both those two things pumping through your body, improve your mood, improve your memory, improve your focus. The link will be in the bio, but these are quality stuff. They have a bunch of different organ supplements, and they are on Amazon. Grass-fed, organic organs, straight to the guzzler to help you stay healthy. So the link will be in the bio, and the code's redhawk10. Code redhawk10 for a discount on Amazon. Like I said, if you want to support the show, check out the link in the bio, and then also patreon.com/redhawkacademy. Content's going up there all the time. Even yesterday, I think we put a tutorial video up, an extra podcast up. We're doing a contest giveaway for a bunch of shit each month. So there's a lot of stuff you can get on there. So, okay, welcome in to my friend and our old coach, Coach Eddie Cha. He's been coaching some high-level fighters for years, and he used to be Sean and I's coach at the MMA Lab. Now he's training at Fight Ready, training the fighters at Fight Ready. How you been, dude?
Good, man. It's good to see you again.
Fuck yeah, you too, bro. You've been staying busy, huh?
Yeah. You guys too.
Yeah, we've been fucking staying busy. So you're working with so many good guys nowadays. You're working with of course, Henry Corrales, one of the scariest motherfuckers in MMA. Working with Zombie, working with Eric Anders, and working with Henry Cejudo.
Yes. I think Henry and Suga are
so we
making coming up here soon.
We could be standing across from each other in July.
I know. First of all, congratulations to you guys. We were there in Dubai watching that fight.
Sweet.
I know everybody was saying it was such a close fight or it was a robbery, but I thought Sean won for sure. 2 rounds, Yeah. If you go off the damage and everything else, I thought it was 29-28. So.
Yeah, it was a fucking hell of a scrap with, one of the baddest motherfuckers in the world. Yeah. I hate even people comparing it to that Paddy fight. I'm like, what? This is not even, it's just two different worlds.
Not even close. No. Who do you think won, by the way?
I walked away from my TV. I was going to do a YouTube video right after. I'm like, damn, Paddy lost, which in my mind, I'm like, this is going to be good for that kid.
Yeah.
He might switch things up. He might be like, realize, fuck, I need to switch things up. I'm not as elite as I thought I was. So I walked away thinking 100% Jared won. And then they called it for him. I was like, oh, that's going to be fucking bad. Yeah,
I thought Jared won. I thought he might have won all 3 rounds, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
For sure, he won 2 rounds. And then if you hear the comments that Paddy was saying after the fight, like, oh yeah, 50 G's and I won, and I'm like, bro,
that's weird.
That was a close fight, but I really thought Jared had the cleaner punches. That left hook, it couldn't miss.
It makes me wonder what the fuck those judges were looking at.
Insane.
It makes me wonder. And how do you fix it? Someone asked me I think they could fix it. I'm like, I just think maybe 7 judges or 10 judges, like a jury when you go to trial. You have all these guys, so it's like I think that would make it better than just 3 random fucking drunks sitting there watching the fight.
I think we need quality judges. I mean, you could have 3, 10, whatever else, but if they're all looking at the same thing, judging the same way, we're going to get the same results. I know in Glory they have 5 judges. That might make a difference, but all 3 judges had it 29-28. It was unanimous for Paddy. So even if we had 2 more judges, it still would have been overruled, right?
Yeah, so. After that fight, they should be forced to sit there with the judges and make it public on YouTube and say, okay, what were you looking at each round? Round by round, sit here. What were you looking at that made you think Paddy won the fucking fight?
Yeah, and that's the problem. There's no repercussions. In any job, if you make a mistake, you should be on probation or kind of do the course over or something like that. But
Yeah.
for some reason, the judges just, they can go home. It doesn't matter. It ruins people's lives, careers, pays. It's a serious problem.
Dude,
I know.
fucking serious problem. I mean, you get people get half their money.
Yeah.
And then their next fight isn't going to be near as big. And then everything changes for that person, for that judge to just sit there and pick a random name. And I wonder how much of it has to do with like their background. Were they raised in wrestling, so they're counting a lot more for the wrestling? Were they raised in karate, so some of these slap kicks are counting for more? I wonder if that has much to do with it.
Yeah. I think a lot of them are just from old school boxing coaches, so they kind of use that criteria. But even the criteria, if you look at it, the number one thing is damage, but no one's really judging it off damage, you know? Mm-hmm. Some people bleed and cut a lot easier. They have more scar tissue, so I don't even know if that's a fair assessment. I mean, I think you got to go off strikes, the more dominant punches or kicks or something like that. I think a lot of the takedowns they consider that way too much, especially when there's nothing being done. You get taken down, you get up within 5-10 seconds. I don't think it should be counted as much.
Yeah.
And if they are counting takedowns, they should count takedown defenses. If you stuff 3 and then you get taken down for 5 seconds and you're winning the striking, it's like
yeah. And how do you judge it if you take someone down and you're sitting there having to posture out of triangles and have to defend omoplatas and you're defending off all these attacks from this guy? How are they supposed to judge that? I think it definitely needs to be more clear too. But now it says controversial judge who scored the Paddy Pimmet fight under review by commission. This is a very serious situation. The longtime mixed martial arts judge came under fire for not one, but 2 scorecards over the last few days, starting with the Danny Sabatello and the Rafael Stotts main event. So Crosby scored the Sabatello-Stotts fight 50-45 in favor of Sabatello, and which made history on December 9th at the first 50-45 scorecard ever recorded for a loser in the MMA decisions database. So I wonder if Crosby's taking some Xannies or if he's on some perks, because he could be.
Well, not only that, how do you fly a judge? The Bellator card was on Friday. You know what time it ends, say 11 o'clock or whatever. He takes a red eye and judges out there. I mean, one, I've never really seen that. But Crosby, he's been under fire forever. I know there's been articles about him. We've had personal issues with him. Corrales fought in Bellator. I can't remember who he fought, but the other 2 judges was unanimous. He won every round, dropped them, tore his leg up. It was a 30-27. Crosby had it 30-27 the other way. It was a split decision. We're like, what were you watching?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Especially that Sabatini fight. I didn't see it, but I all heard it was 48-47, went to the 5th round, and he had it 50-45 every single round. Yeah. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it really fucking doesn't make sense, dude. So we might as well get into it, though. I think Suge is a bad matchup for Henry. And you are used to seeing Suge. You know Sugar was talented, but you were seeing him 5-6 years ago when he was just a little fucking string bean. A little string bean. And the reason I say that, I mean, Henry's fucking elite. He's going to be so dangerous. He's a dangerous fucking athlete. But in my opinion, he's been out for so many years, and now he's going to come back and fight a kid who's damn near in his fucking prime, who can knock people out with both limbs, who's very long and rangy. And I don't think Henry's fought anyone like Suge.
No, but I could say the same thing the other way. I don't think Suge has fought anybody like Henry either.
Yes,
I mean,
true.
We all know Henry's accolades, an Olympic gold medalist and 2-time champion. But I mean, even the Moraes fight, before Moraes, everyone's saying he was training and everything else. When Moraes was the man, when they fought, Henry was an underdog. When he fought TJ, he was an underdog. Demetrius Johnson, he's an underdog. And then actually when we started working together, that guy's mindset, he's one of those exceptions, I think. And yes, he has been out, but Zombie was out for 3.5 years also when he would to go to the military service. And but Henry is, there's certain athletes that you just go, this guy can do anything he puts his mind to. When he smells blood, he goes for it. His cardio, never seen this kid get tired. I can't say enough great things about it. It's not only because I work with him. And Suge, I say the same thing about him. I've told Henry, I go, this kid is the most explosive 35er out there. This guy, exactly like you said, he can knock you out both sides. He knows how to use his range. You know, so many guys are tall, but they don't know how to use their reach, their distance. I think Suga's got explosive power, speed. And I always tell people at the gym, I go, he's so twitchy fast. And he's better than he was now than when I remember him 6-7 years ago. Mm-hmm. He's grown so much, but Suga's scary, man.
Yeah, I mean, fucking Henry's scary too. But I know the plan probably is you guys are gonna come out and try to chop his legs, similar to the Dominic Cruz fight. Chop his legs, take out his body. Easier said than done. Fuck, I'm excited for it. I mean, Henry's got to get through Aljo first.
Yeah.
And Aljo's a fucking dangerous fight for Henry. I swear to God he is. I know Henry's going to be the better wrestler, but when you add the cage to it, you add people shooting on you on the cage, you add body triangles to it, you add real jiu-jitsu to it, it changes a little bit because Henry's he's probably the best wrestler in the UFC. But you put him against Aljo, he's got to get through Aljo first.
Yeah. No, Aljo is a scary dude. That is, I would say Aljo and Suga are the biggest guys that we fear a little bit, or I fear at least, because Aljo's not only big, he's patient, his jits is amazing, he'll catch a kick like he did TJ, jump on your back, and it's a wrap. You know, you can't really make too many mistakes with him. But as far as leg kicks and stuff, I've heard this from years. Oh, just kick Sean's legs, and Chito did it, and so forth. It's not that easy. Like even when he chopped, some of our game plans for when Henry fought Dominic Cruz, one of our goals was 7 leg kicks or anything else. And but if you saw, like everyone says that about Dominic, even Chito when he fought him, he was saying like, man, I was trying to kick his legs. He's fast. He's in and out. It's not a matter of like trying to kick the legs. It's when do you kick it? That's where the game planning comes in as coaches, right? Do we wait for him? Do we feint? Do we have him come in with the jab, step in with the lead leg? When do we kick? That's kind of the key. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where the game planning. But Henry, I'll tell you this, like if we say, you have to do this kid is so disciplined. He never deters. I think Demetrius said it on Rogan's podcast. He goes, that guy's the most disciplined guy I know. And it's not talking about dieting or anything else. He's disciplined when it comes to game planning. When he says he's going to do something, he does it. That's it. Mm-hmm. You know, this guy's, we always tell, Henry always says too, he goes, I'm selfish to my goals. He goes, that's it. He goes, I'm loyal to my goals. He goes, he can, he'll fire anybody on the spot if you're not an asset or anything else. But he does whatever it takes to win. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm always impressed and give people credit when they're an Olympian, but this kid won I think he's the youngest gold medalist in wrestling for the U.S., you know? Yep. Just a story of everything that he's been through, but the mindset, I'm telling you, like this kid is something special. It's not just his accolades. When you start training with them, you just go, this kid is different. Yeah. You know, like we've been around the gym and we see guys like that. It's not just special. He's just different, I'll tell you. But yeah, he hasn't fought for over 2 years or something like that.
May 2020 was his last one against Dominic. Yep.
Yeah, that was the first COVID fight, first show back. But he has been training. I mean, Whaley's been in our camp. He's been in there. Figueiredo's been in our camp. He's been doing that. Jon Jones, he's been doing that. They've been exchanging notes. Demetrius has been coming in and out. They've been training together every day. Zombie, he was sparring with him for Volkanovski. So it's not like he hasn't been doing anything for 2 years. This kid's been active. Mm-hmm. He's been, I think he's been evolving too. He has his own philosophy in fighting now, so he's kind of switched a lot of the regimen around. It's
getting older.
Yeah. But with older comes, wisdom. Being smarter, yes. Right? We like most camps, if you look at it, they go, okay, this morning we're going to do, jits, and the nighttime we're going to hit pads, or we're going to do this. He likes to combine everything. So everything is an MMA practice. So we'll go into, I don't want to tell our whole schedule, but he'll get in, we'll say like play rounds. We're going to simulate this. Then 30 minutes, we're going to get straight into wrestling. Then 30 minutes, we'll get into jits or whatever. But every practice is not going to be broken up like just pad work, just this, because we're so limited. We have so many things to train in MMA. He puts every practice as MMA, and then we get detailed to it. Sparring, whatever we see, we don't wait till the next day. We let him recuperate for about 5-10 minutes, and we go straight into what we saw and we rep it right on the spot. But he's such a perfectionist. He's one of those guys. Like I'll give you an example. we're running like check hooks or something like that, or we're running Y patterns, just evading, setting traps. I've showed those moves to a lot of guys, and they couldn't hit it in a fight or sparring. Maybe it takes them a year, right? Henry would do it the next day, and I go, I can't believe you did that. He goes, isn't that what you wanted? I go, yeah, but I've never seen results that fast. He's just that fast at just picking things up.
Yeah, I'm curious to see. I mean, like I said, I think Aljo's just going to be a fucking tough fight for everyone. He walks around 175 pounds. His limbs are super long. Taquino fought him, and Taquino is so strong. And Taquino even talked about this guy's fucking strong. Yeah. He's fucking strong. But we did see him sleeping against Marlon Moraes, laying there flat, sleeping. So that does make me think, like, I mean, Suge can probably knock him out.
That was a while ago, though,
It was. It definitely was. But it shows that he's not invisible. But I hope we get the fight with Henry, because I think for both those guys, that's the biggest fight in the bantamweight division, Henry versus Suge. And it's just like, want to beat him so fucking bad. Just to say, hey, you beat Triple C.
Sure.
You beat Triple C, the best combat sports athlete out there. Yeah. And I think it's going to be, I'm so curious. I mean, that's going to be just two fucking elite guys going at it, and it's going to be sweet. Yeah. I mean, the build up to it's going to be sweet. The train camp, everything's going to be fucking sweet, bro.
It is. But like you said, Aljo is first. I'm surprised you guys didn't get it after beating Peter Yan,
Yeah.
But Aljo's a nightmare. I know as confident as Henry is, he believes he can beat anybody. His whole goal when he came out of retirement, he wanted to fight Volkanovski. But Dana said, no, you got to, win some fights or whatever it may be. So his goal is to beat Aljo. Then he said, Suge's next. He goes, that's the money fight. That's the guy. That's the challenge that I want to put myself through. And then we'll see from there.
If Henry was going to beat Suge, how do you see it? I mean, leg kicks, body shots, taking him down. People think you take Suge down, it's going to be easy to beat on him, but it's not, bro. We've been training with Taquino for so many fucking years. He's very dangerous, and he has a lot of tricks when it comes to jiu-jitsu that people don't even know about yet.
Yeah. No, I've been following Suge's career. I think you've done an amazing job with him. Taquino's obviously the best, You train with him, Suge trains with him. His jits is improved. Not only that, his grappling. And then I keep telling everybody, Suge's so hard just to take down, because when he gets to that cage, his lateral movement and twitches and feints, and like I said, he knows how to use his range. You go orthodox, he'll go southpaw, keep even a bigger distance. And so it's not as easy as people say, oh, you fight Suge, just take him down or kick his legs. It's not that easy. This kid is lightning fast. He's long. But if they were to fight, I would definitely say the leg kicks, because if you look even the Peter Yan fight, I think he was like 27 for 27. I can't remember the exact CompuBox numbers, but the leg kicks were landing. But Peter Yan does come forward and just kind of take shots. But yeah, definitely the leg kicks, the timing of it, how we would set it up. It's going to be hard to punch Suge in the head because he's so much taller and Henry's so much shorter. But we have to use that X factor as wrestling too, But it's how to do it, when to do it. Those are the keys. Everyone can say in a broad perspective, yeah, just wrestle and just kick. But how many kicks? How many shots? When do we wrestle? What do we see in film that this is kind of the time to blitz or whatever it may be? But game planning is a big part of it. But the most important part is obviously the execution. So it's going to boil down to the athletes.
Has there been a fight with Henry where it's like, okay, we have this perfect game plan and he follows it so well, but it's like, wow, this is not what we expected. It's not working. We got to switch this now in the fight.
I know when he fought Moraes, I wasn't working with him at that time, but our other coach, Santino DeFranco, they did switch it up. Henry's shoulder was torn. And then I don't know if that story came out, but before the Moraes fight, I think it was 3 days on fight week, the mats were, how they tape the mats together? It was actually kind of open. He rolled his ankle. It was completely black and blue. I know we have a picture of it. Literally, everyone thought the fight was off. He could not walk. They brought in a bunch of doctors. They did some laser and stuff like that. He taped the crap out of it, and then he ended up fighting. Anybody else would have said no.
Yeah.
He literally could not walk. And then you saw the beating he took in that first round with the leg kicks. So they did switch it up. I know if you hear the corner, Tino's like, you got to press forward. You got to go to the body with the knees. You got to just go. So he can adapt on the fly. But like I say, I can't express enough when you just see him training, the mindset. Like that guy is like, it's something scary.
I mean, even when he was just so young, working with the Brands brothers in Iowa, who were probably the meanest coaches in the game, they even talk about just how tough he is and how mentally strong he is. So definitely when we prepare for Henry, it's going to be preparing for a guy who's not going to break. We're going to have to put his lights out, put him to sleep before he stops, because he's going to keep coming regardless of that. But I want to talk about, too, how important it is in practice all the time to find people who can beat you. Yeah. And people, I mean, even new jiu-jitsu people, they get so pissed off when they lose in practice, but it's almost like I've watched so many champions lose in practice and how they handle it. You should almost be happy when someone can beat you in practice.
100%.
Be like, now they exposed where I'm weak. They exposed exactly what I need to get, what I need to work on. So it's good to be just like super competitive in practice, but to get your emotions all like get pissed, it's not smart to do that.
Yeah, agreed. If you're constantly winning, how do you know what to work on? You know, you should be thanking the guys that kind of exploit you and say, look, I just tagged you, or I took you down with this move, or whatever it may be. But yeah, we're always looking to bring in the top-notch guys, especially for like Henry's camp. He'll always fly in 2-3 sparring partners, specific detailed guys. So for Aljo, I'm assuming we're going to bring in great wrestlers, bigger guys, stronger guys, great jits guys, guys that have good back games and so forth. But yeah, I agree.
The importance of that, for sure. Yeah, for probably Henry, we'll probably work a lot with a kid named Bryce Meredith. He was a 3-time NCAA finalist, 4-time state champ.
He's a stud.
Fucking stud, dude.
Yeah.
So we'll probably work with him a lot for Henry, just to feel that wrestler power. Because you feel a wrestler who's been wrestling their whole life, their tie-ups, their strength is just different. Yeah. They've been fucking controlling people their whole lives, so their strength is just different. So that'll be good. So for you, you coach so many different types of athletes. Like guys, like, I mean, just so many guys are so different. So how do you go about just coaching athletes and fighters to their attributes? I mean, that's a tough thing, and I don't think a lot of coaches can do it. I think a lot of coaches just teach people the one way that they learned how and the one way that they know how. But every athlete, I mean, some guys are tall and lanky, some guys are short and stocky. So training people to their attributes, I think, takes a special coach.
Yeah. I think a lot of coaches would say, this is the way I like to do it, and this is how we do it, and whatever else. But when you have certain athletes, you got to kind of use their attributes, you know? Like some guys are power guys, some guys are twitchy fast, some guys are wrestlers, some guys are strikers or whatnot. So you got to, I call it like a custom design. You got to be able to design your style with theirs and kind of blend it in. But I think there's a universal thing that you do have to have, like basic fundamentals. You have to increase your fight IQ. I'm a huge advocate for feints. You know, the feints are everything. I think when you get into the top 5, top 10, I talked about with Henry, Zombie, all these guys, the feints, and I think GSP talked about it too. He said, I don't know if you heard that article when he said when he fought BJ Penn 2. He said BJ Penn was the fastest reaction time guy when it comes to anything, counters. So he goes, I knew if I punch first, I'm going to get countered. So his the whole first round, I went back and watched it, nothing but feints. He's reacting to everything. Second round, the reaction times get slower, right? The neurological system kind of breaks down, and then he took advantage of it in the second round. But little things like that, I like to dissect. But yeah, you got to have a fundamental thing. Like as much as you have your style, I have my style. If you can't throw a basic jab or you understand what jab range, we're also big on like what we call distance game or a borders game. Henry likes to call it. Volkanovski's, the Izzy's, City Kickboxing does it really, really well. We're real big on that distance game. Suge is so good at that too, right? Mm-hmm. And he does the feints again. He freezes guys, he twitches them, he makes them back up, makes them react to stuff. And so I think you have to have the fundamentals, and then you got to add your twist to it, and then kind of adjust and say, well, this combination may work for Henry, but this is not going to work for, X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, I mean, the fight IQ, and that's just the fight IQ is just going to come from experience in the cage. It just really is. I mean, I had a couple amateurs have their debuts this weekend, and they're both really good strikers, but trying to knock the people out. They're trying to knock the people out, and it takes experience to be able to okay, it's the second round. I'm fucking running out of juice. I'm not able to KO this kid, but it takes experience to be like, I'm gonna take 30% off my punches, and I'm just gonna start popping this kid at 60%, 70%. It takes experience and just cage awareness and just IQ to be in there and experience that. But yeah, I feel like you've always been good at that. You have a good striking system and working with different athletes and watching Zombie. I mean, I sparred with Zombie one time. I'm like, that guy's a fucking stud, bro. He cracks hard. He's black belt level of jiu-jitsu. How's Zombie been doing? What's it like working with him?
He's good. Zombie's like my little brother, Not only we're both Korean, so we have that culture thing and respect, but he's another workhorse. I mean, you talk about like a student of the game. He knows he's not the most athletic guy and this and that, but everything he's worked for, he studied. Like, I'll give you an example. Like during his camps, he records every play round, every wrestling practice, everything. And then we go eat after. He's sitting there say he does 5 rounds, 25 minutes on video. He'll stop, rewind slowly. Oh, this is how I got taken. Oh, no, I was 2 inches too close. Like, it'll literally take him an hour and a half, 2 hours. And then he'll study again. And his wife used to say, like, I literally have to tell him to put the phone down. He won't go to sleep. He's literally obsessed with studying everything. He's literally a student of the game. And so, yeah, I love that guy.
Yeah, that's fucking badass. He's always just been the best dude to be around. But So when you're looking at an amateur, like some kid who tells you, hey, I want to be world champ, blah, 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 what's kind of athletes, what do you look for in a fighter mainly?
Well, skill set wise, obviously, I think we all agree that if we had to build a fighter like a video game, what would it be?
What would it be for me?
Yeah. If we're building a character in a video game and you have boxing, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, judo, whatever it may be.
Yeah, speed, timing, and then just coachability.
But it's style-wise. What would it be? Like you're building a guy.
Like if I want their strengths. Strengths.
Like what would your character be? A striker? As a base. And then you could build everything else around it.
God, it's just so different for everyone.
Yeah.
Because you start out as a wrestler. That wrestler, it's probably going to take him a while to figure out his range with punching.
Sure.
Wrestlers, they shoot from tie-ups and they shoot from in close and they shoot. The range is completely different. And then you get a striker who started out striking. It's like he knows his range. He knows where to fucking punch someone at the end of his jab or at the end of his right hand. So I think that one's kind of tough.
It is, but then... we can get the best strikers in the world, but if they can't wrestle,
fucked.
You know what I mean? And then all the strikers are kind of playing catch up too. Like wrestling is a feel and everything else, and they're so mentally tough. Like we have so many like D1 guys from ASU and everything else. They're just different. Like we have BJJ black belts, we have all this and that, and great strikers, but when you look at the wrestlers in the room, they're just different. They've been cutting weight since they're a kid. They have the discipline not to eat. They have so many attributes, strength-wise and everything else. But for me, at least, if I'm looking to build somebody, say, what's your background? Did you wrestle in high school? Some of the first things I ask. And then listen to the answers and then listen, going off of what they kind of say. But obviously, it's the mindset and it's a discipline. Some guys are motivated, and you probably get 10 a day coming in here. I'm the next world champ. I want to do this. I want to be a next Suga and so forth. But actions speak louder than words. Can they take a beating? First day of sparring, do they come back the next day? Just little things like that, But those are the things we kind of look for is consistency, why they want to do it, what their experience is, and then do they have what it takes?
Yeah, I agree. Exactly why they want to do it. Like, are you passionate about mixed martial arts? Because if you want to be successful in this, you're going to have to fucking commit your life to it because there's so many arts that you have to get good and proficient at. And then Yeah, exactly, dude. I see so many goddamn good athletes come in here, but they're just every little life problem that pops up keeps them out of practice. Every little thing that pops up keeps them out of practice. It's like, well, you're not going to go that far then. Yeah. So I think that's it. Just being passionate about it, showing up, and then being coachable for sure. But of course, you get a wrestler who's wrestled his whole life. You come in here, he's going to adapt to jiu-jitsu pretty easy. He's going to adapt to jiu-jitsu pretty easy. He's going to have the mindset to be able to adapt to striking for sure. I mean, I always tell people, too, that are just, they don't have much of a grappling background and they're teenagers. It's like you have to start grappling. Yeah. Because the grappling takes fucking years and years and years to develop. Yeah,
and I don't know what it is after – we've been in the sport a long time. You've seen great strikers, and the first thing, what should I be working on, is say, you should wrestle 1 to 2 times a day. Maybe wrestle an hour a day, and it doesn't always have to be hard. It can be flow, whatever it may be, and then you should be running jits and everything else every day, and you're still playing catch-up at 5-6 days a week for a couple of years. They just don't do it, right? Mm-hmm. How many times have you seen great strikers? If you just had wrestling, you'd be a freaking world champion or top 5 in the world. And then you have the other side of the coin. We see great BJJ world champions. We see D1 national champion wrestlers. You need to work striking every day, and they don't do it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I think that goes back to the discipline. Are you willing to do whatever it takes? Well, we just told you what you got to do, but you don't want to do it, then I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, at least becoming like proficient at your weaknesses. And then you can still focus on what your strengths are and keep improving your strengths and get better at your strengths. But in MMA, if you're lacking in one area, your plan is to be elite and get in the UFC, and you're lacking in one area, you're gonna get exposed. Like you're gonna get exposed quick.
Yeah, the minute you lose a fight, there's the blueprint, right? It's like, oh my God, so and so just took him down, or so and so calf kicked him. There's his weakness, his stance, or oh, this guy he can't handle pressure. Well, there's our game plan.
Everyone sees it.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And the more you fight, the more holes everyone sees and exposes. So if you're not evolving every fight, then you're going to get exposed.
Yeah, fuck yeah. So they're talking about Nick Diaz. Nick Diaz said he's coming back and he's looking to make a run. And I'm like, oh, fuck. That's why I tweeted. I'm like, put that motherfucker on the Liver King diet, and then I'd be pumped to watch it. Yeah. Nick Diaz promises whole new me in 2023 comeback, targets Israel Adesanya matchup. I mean, it's like, fuck, Nick.
Yeah.
It sucks with those guys because I feel like with a lot of those guys, they just define themselves as I'm a fighter. They define themselves as I'm a fighter. And it's hard to let go of that and be like, it's okay. I'm not a fighter anymore. It doesn't define me.
Yeah, Nick's been a legend. I haven't met anybody that doesn't love the Diaz brothers. I mean, it sucks to say, is he fighting for money? You know?
Yeah.
Because back in the days, he wasn't making the money that Nate was, right? Mm-hmm. So is he doing it for money, or does he actually have some goals? Are they realistic goals? You know, who are we to say? But, we just hate to see legends go back in there and get beat up or something like that. You would hate.
Dude, you see that fight with him and Robbie, though. It was so sick. The output he came out with and looking like just vintage Nick, just boxing his fucking ears off.
He looked good.
But then just puckered out.
Yeah, and that's the prime example. The old Nick Diaz, I don't think he would have quit off a broken nose or anything, right?
Yeah, for sure.
You would have to put a bullet through his head to stop him. But yeah, it's unfortunate. I hate seeing legends kind of still fighting.
So, how about you? I mean, what kind of like drugs do you like? I like my marijuana. I like my caffeine. I like my shit. My caffeine gets me going in the morning, keeps me fresh. My marijuana after a good day and I mean, helps me be creative, helps me have good ideas, and then certain strains help shut my mind off. What about you? What kind of drugs are you dealing with?
Cigarettes is my thing that I'm actually trying to quit in January.
You could light one up right now if you wanted.
No.
Ciggies? So what is it about the ciggies? Is it the tobacco? Is it something like, is it just like, what kind of craving is it?
I think I've just been smoking for a long time, to be honest with you.
And when did you start?
Too young. I would say in my teens. I think it's like everyone else. You start drinking, and then you start having a cigarette, and you start bumming one off, and then eventually you start buying your packs. And nicotine is real, you know.
So it's addiction to nicotine, because I've been fucked up a couple times. Give me that cigarette, and I've just smoked that whole thing at once, but never really done it sober, because I'm like, God, it's just pointless to do that, because I know I maybe like it.
Right.
And I'm pretty much willingly deteriorating my body.
Yeah. Again, I've been smoking for too long, so my goal is to actually try to quit come January.
Like some patches, you can try some patches.
Yeah, I'll try some gum, maybe vape, but
is vaping even better, much better? Or is
that's the thing, like I know a lot of people have gotten off it because of vape, but is it actually better? Is it worse for you? I think it's so relatively new. Who knows, what's going to happen in 10, 15 years, the reports that come out. But whatever I do, I want it to be temporary, and I just want to be done with it.
Yeah. You do caffeine?
I do. I drink a glass of coffee a day. I like energy drinks too.
Get charged up?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
But I don't know how much caffeine. I don't know what it does. I love the taste of coffee and I love the taste of energy drinks. So I don't know if it kind of wires me or whatever it may be, but
Yeah, I love caffeine. I like it.
I do too.
Especially, I don't really fuck with the energy drinks too much, but you get a Celsius before training, before one of your workouts, and like maybe you might get a little bit of toxicity from it, but is it worth it for having a fucking good workout?
Right.
And having your mind strong that whole workout and pushing those extra rounds that you didn't want to push just because you got that caffeine? I think so. But my marijuana, I fucking like my weed a lot. I try not to smoke all day, and then when I do have my weed, I feel like I have lots of different ideas I'm writing down. I'm able to just shut my mind off and enjoy Mariah, enjoy my dogs, enjoy my night, enjoy all the small things in my life. You do the marijuana much?
At the end of the night, once in a while I will. I love watching movies on it. When I was a lot younger, I used to love it. I used to think weed cures all and things like that. But as you get older, I think it just hits you a little harder, and I can't function throughout the day. So, but it's a great recovery thing. I think it's great for the body. I'd rather take an edible than take Tylenol or something like that. At the end of the night. So
yeah, a good fucking edible. Yeah. I don't mind the good edible at all. So, what's your kind of schedule like today? Today you're going to go. Who are you working with today?
Today we have Kelvin Gastelum. He's going to be sparring
later
on today. So he's fighting January 14th against Imanov, which is a really tough fight. That kid is super athletic. I don't know if you saw his last fight against Buckley in England.
He tuned him up.
Yeah, he did. He won rounds 1 and 2. I thought Buckley might have won 3. His gas tank looks a little suspect. He kind of always gasses around the 12th minute or so. This will be his first main event, which is going to be 5 rounds. So I think it definitely favors Kelvin. But Kelvin's another stud. That kid, he just knows how to fight. Like he fought Jared, which is the man right there. But when you watch Kelvin spar, when you see guys are real jittery, the nerves, Kelvin looks like he's just doing. Like he's just walking, like it's no big deal. I literally have to tell him to go get his mouthpiece. I'm like, wait a minute, stop. You don't have your mouthpiece. He's like, I never wear my mouthpiece. So I go, well, you're wearing it now.
Like that kid, dude, because it's not like he's super. He's definitely gifted because just mentally he's gifted. He can take a fucking punch. But like athletically, he's just short Mexican. He's fighting at middleweight. He's southpaw. He can wrestle pretty good. But he's a fucking animal, dude.
Yeah, height-wise and everything else, you go, this kid should be at 70 again, But when he was doing so well at 85, and besides Pereira, I think he was the guy the only guy that really almost beat, Izzy, right? But I told him, I go, you want to be remembered for almost doing something. You have a chance to actually make a run here. And so...
what does he walk around at, 200, 210,
I want to say we weighed him at 202 right now. And we have about 5 weeks to go.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So 186, not too big of a jump. But
he's thick, pounds. Man. He has no neck, literally. He is strong. He's thick. He can wrestle, and he's got pop in that left hand. Yeah, I'm excited for him.
The Pereira, being champion, it just opens up. It opens up the division so much. All these guys are licking their chops, I bet. Especially the fucking good wrestlers and the good grapplers. So I'm curious to what happens there. This weekend we got Jared Cannonier versus Sean Strickland. What do you think is going to go down in that 5-rounder?
I love Jared. Jared's the man. We worked together quite in I don't know how many fights together, but Jared's just so good. He's so strong for that weight class. He's got a high fight IQ. as I remember, I'm sure he's the same. That guy's work ethic is second to none. His mindset, we talked about.
Similar to like Henry Corrales, I feel like. They're
Yeah.
just, once they get in there, it's just like they're fucking
Jared's
savages.
gonna do his thing. He's got great kicks. He's got power in his hands, and his wrestling's improved a lot too, right? Like like he's not a guy you can just go hold in the cage or wrestle. Like Jared's a all around MMA fighter. And he's an elite guy. So I got Jared winning that fight.
He really is elite. And Sean Strickland's a bad motherfucker too. I think he's able to get in a lot of people's heads and kind of intimidate them a little bit. He's not going to be able to intimidate Jared.
No. Sean's, I don't know if everything he does is an actor or whatnot, but he's definitely entertaining.
He's a crazy motherfucker.
Yeah. Some of our guys trained out there. He said he was cool as hell. I know he's a Cali guy too. I know some of the guys from California know him as well. But yeah, he's dangerous as well. I wouldn't be surprised after the last fight if he's going to try to wrestle him a little bit, maybe strike him, in the first couple minutes, and then when they get that exchange, he'll probably try to wrestle him. But Jared's a tough kid to take down, man.
I mean, look at his fight against Brunson, who's probably a better wrestler than Strickland, probably better at jiu-jitsu. Jared gets taken down in the middle of the cage, right into side control, and Jared just does everything right and ends up working to his feet. Yeah. I'm fucking pumped for that fight. I'm pumped for that fight this weekend. Same. And then we got who else? This is an interesting fight here. Alex Caceres versus Julian Erosa.
Alex, our boy.
Yeah. It's an interesting fight. Julian's my buddy too, and similar styles, both hands down. I mean, and you'd say Alex is more of a vet, but Julian's a vet too, dude. He's got 38 pro fights. He's been in there for a while. Caceres 19-13. It's probably going to be a pretty fucking banger fight.
Yeah, I don't know Julian personally, but everyone that does know him, they have nothing but great things to say about him. He is a workhorse. He's got a great ground game too. I think he's a BJJ black belt. Mm-hmm. He's had fight of the nights and so forth. And as we know, when we used to train with Alex, he's so elusive. Like everyone thinks, oh, Alex is so easy. You can take him down, or he has no pop. That kid is good.
He's got tricks everywhere.
He can fight. Yeah. He's been fighting since 18, bare knuckle, backyards. Like, this kid can fight. Mm-hmm. He's super athletic. I think his jits-has even come a long way, too. He when he came from behind and beat the Korean kid, Sung Ho Choi.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a great fight. But yeah, just every time if you try to you pick against Alex, and he'll win. So.
Yeah, and Alex is a fucking different bird, dude.
He
kid is a different kid. He's fucking. I mean, most fighters that have been fighting that long, they got some screws loose. They're crazy, but that's partly what makes them good. So,
who's favored in that fight?
I don't even know. I can't even see the favorite here. I'm curious on that too. Then we got Drew Dober and Bobby Green.
Oh man, Bobby! I love Bobby.
You've been working with Bobby for a while.
Back in the days in Cali, yeah. Bobby is one of the realest guys you will ever meet. He's 100% genuine, just raw talent, like reaction time. Anything he does, like even when, he's not a guy where you can just hit mitts and go, okay, like this, he looks great. But you put him in the cage, in the ring, and sparring, like that guy will talk trash to you. And most time when people are angry, they can't fight, they can't focus. Bobby almost gets him looser when he talks trash. Like every single guy he'd be sparring, like, "What's up, bitch? Come on." Yeah. Everybody's like, "Whoa, what the hell?" I love Bobby.
I thought he got popped for the stuff, so they must have dropped that. He didn't get a 2-year suspension or something.
I read something about it. I don't know what it was for.
He said it was a Whole Foods supplement that it popped up some shit. Okay. So it must have been such a small amount that it got taken away. So
yeah, I don't think Bobby is on PEDs or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. Drew Dober though, dude, that's gonna be a tough fight.
Super tough kid.
So it's weird. Like him and Kelvin, they're southpaws, and they just make it seem so hard to hit them because they're constantly floating to the right. They're constantly floating to the right. They got this super sideways stance and these big heads, big necks. I don't know. Both
but guys. The thing with Bobby, he's kind of like Suge. He can switch stance too. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have to fight orthodox. He can switch to southpaw. That's going to be a tough fight for Drew.
Yeah, that'll be a fun one to watch there. And then we got Julian Marquez versus Duran Win. It's always entertaining watching Duran fight. He's 5'5", 5'5", middleweight, but can wrestle like a fucking motherfucker. And then he's going against Julian Marquez. That should be an interesting fight there. I don't know who's going to win that. And then we got this Saeed kid, Saeed Nurmagomedov. He's going to be a dangerous kid. He's going to be in the top 5 soon. He's going to be a problem for a lot of fucking people.
Yeah,
because he's super flashy. He's pretty accurate. He's not quite as accurate as Suga, but he's super flashy. He's long like Suga, and he can grapple. He can really fucking grapple. So that kid's going to be...
Yeah, that kid's legit.
Kid's going to be an issue. Damn, a bunch of fights got canceled this week. Sweet watching JP win.
Yeah, he did great.
He beat the fuck out of him. Holy
Elkins
shit.
is tough, man. The whole camp, we were telling him, don't try to finish him and gas yourself out like everybody else. If you're going to unload, do it in the third. And I remember he told me after the fight, in the second round, he goes, I hit him as hard as I could with the elbow on the ground. Blood was gushing. He said he almost threw up. I think he did throw up a little bit in the second because he tasted his blood. Ooh. And he just threw up in his mouth, swallowed it. After the fight, he was throwing up too because he's tasting his blood and stuff. But he goes, I hit him with everything I could. I go, so did every other guy. And then ended up losing because Darren he's a veteran. He's a stud, hats off to him. But JP did amazing. Followed the game plan. We really worked a lot of those chokes that they're great at, takedown defense, and up the middle. Like if you saw Elkins' guard, he just kind of like a Peter Yan thing. So if you saw us running those teeps up the middle a lot and stuff like that.
Everyone says with that Elkins guy, he just does not get tired, and it's happened so many times. There's been a handful of fighters in the UFC in the past that just beat people from taking beatings. Yeah. People fucking gas out from beating on him, but JP looked in phenomenal shape, dude. He was putting way more output than Darren Till, and just every single position was beating the fuck out of Darren.
Well, JP, as you know, his cardio is unreal either, right? And then you can hear Elkins breathing heavy on the ground, like super heavy. And so I was like, oh, maybe this might be the fight where he kind of gasses out a little bit. But he just kept on coming. And JP, he was so impressed too. He's like, I can't believe that kid's cardio. He goes, I take pride in cardio. And he's like, I feel the wall and I just push through it. But he's like, yeah, that kid's something else.
Yeah, it's cool seeing JP come up too, just because he came in, he wasn't in the UFC. He moved away from his hometown, sold his mower business. And I remember him getting beat up so bad in sparring one day, and he's crying in the locker room saying, I don't even know if I should do this anymore. And he thought about moving back. But we're like, just fucking stick with the system. And he did. And now he's in the UFC thriving. He's a fucking great kid, isn't he?
Yeah. Remember when no one thought he would mount to anything? He went to the Contender Series. He fought Jacob Rosales, tough kid in California, and everyone was kind of counting him out. He won that. Then he lost his debut to what's the veteran's name? I can't remember.
Oh yeah, I know.
Lozon, yeah. And then he started 0-1, and then he's won 5 straight.
Fuck yeah.
But he's a guy, again, perfect example. Every day in, day out. Even after his last fight, he's banged up, shows up on Monday, watches practice, tries to learn something, Mm-hmm. Just trusting the process, and you see the growth of, Jonathan Pearce, JSP.
That's fucking badass. So what's your kind of thoughts on Paddy the Baddy? How do you think he's going to amount to be? He's already a superstar, and I think people are going to watch him regardless of what happens. But I think the UFC and the lightweight division, they're going to have to really be smart with the fights they give that kid at this point.
I think the lightweight division, we talked about this with a bunch of guys, it's one of the most stacked. If you look at from 1 to 15, they all have 20-plus wins. They're all sick wrestlers. Look at Fazeev, just amazing strikers, scary dudes. But I think Paddy is super talented. The dude's got a chin. We've seen that in his last fight. He's got a great ground game. He has it all. He has a star power. My only concern with him is when you get up to 220 pounds or 210 pounds in the off season, you're not training. And we all know that's when you get better, is in the off time, right?
Yep.
Are you developing another skill set? How are you improving? What are you getting better at? And even if you were to train once a day, eat what you want, there's no way you're getting over 200-something pounds.
Yeah.
That's my only kind of knock on it.
And how many athletes have you seen? Because I've seen a handful of them that, when they're in the pocket, their chin fucking gets up. Or when they're backing up, they get higher than they were before, and their chin starts to come up. And I've seen people, you just harp on it, drill it, and then they spar it, and they still do it, and they still do it, and they still do it. It's just fucking hard to fix. And I think with people in that lightweight division, Gaethje, Poirier, Beneil, Chandler, Vazeev, Dos Anjos, Gamrot, the Sarsukian guy, Armin.
He's nasty.
I mean, Renato Mocano, that dude is fucking gnarly as fuck.
Yeah.
All these guys, it's like you cannot do that versus these guys, or you'll be sleeping.
Yeah, that head movement thing. I mean, you know, we know a couple of guys that pop their chin up and stuff. But if you look at Paddy, you're right. His head wasn't moving when he was throwing combinations. But if you can't keep your chin down, how about we roll off the right hand? Or like we like to do what we call like a TikTok drills. Every time we throw a right hand, our right ear's lined up his right ear. Throw a left hand, our left ear's lined up, you know. So we're always on defense while we're on offense, kind of thing. And then there, like Jared, he wasn't kicking to the body or head kicks. It was all leg kicks. So you shouldn't have to worry too much about rolling out. I finish with the right hand. I should be able to roll out and not being worried about a left kick, you know. And so him just adding again, we go back to fundamentals. How about we add the rolls, you know? How about we add the ear-to-ear kind of drills?
And I wonder if he's the type of athlete to be like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go do this. I'm going to drill and sparring. I'm going to drill and sparring. And in the fight, I'm going to actually do it. Or is it going to be one of those kids where it's like, I'm always going to fight this way. And if my skill set can beat theirs, great. Because for him, I don't know. He's going to have to evolve if he's going to be the star that everyone's hoping he is. But again, he's game and he's confident as fuck. And you know how far confidence can get you. I mean, it's the number one thing in fighting, I feel like, is just being confident. And he's a confident kid.
Yeah, confidence goes a long ways, but at the same time, you don't want that false confidence either, you know. Wait till you get to the top 20, top 15, like we just talked about. Does that confidence tend to hinder when you take a loss? You know, and deep inside, does he really think that he won all those rounds against Jared and things like that? We'll see, you know, but he is 100% confident. The dude has star power. I mean, the dude's a star, but you got to keep winning in the sport to be one, you know? Like, even Suga, like, that dude was a star overnight from Contender Series. You know, I remember we were talking about that with him and stuff like that, but he's evolved. Like, Suga has evolved. That dude has been grinding. He's evolved. And so I think it's a little different. You don't see Suga getting up to 190. Yeah. You know what I mean?
100%.
I think that weight factor is a difference. It just shows what we talked about is discipline, right? And then what's your end goal? Is it really to be a world champion? Is it to be famous and make money?
Yeah, I think the blowing up like that and then having to crash diet and lose 40 pounds in a span of 10 weeks, I think that's going to age you quicker than you think.
Yeah, not only that, it can't be good for your liver, your kidneys.
Heart.
And we've been there before. How many times have you had a fighter come in 40 pounds overweight? Now this camp is more of a weight cut camp as opposed to actually we're really getting it in. Because you're 40 pounds over, the first few weeks, the cardio ain't going to be there. The strength ain't going to be there. It's like, what are we doing, you know? Yep. You got to come in at a certain weight in order to really start going to maximize your 8-week camps.
And hopefully he has people smart enough that he respects around him that are telling him that. But also I heard the corners in his corners and his coaches saying, Paddy, chin down, your hands up, chin down, hands up. So they clearly know it's an issue. But like I said, some people it's just hard to fix. So how coachable is he?
Sure.
Especially now that you're feeling like the man, it's hard to say.
Yeah, and if you're not repping it, like we talked about, out of camp, it's a lot harder to fix as well if you're only doing it for 8 weeks at a time, 2-3 times a year.
Yeah.
You know?
So lawmakers said that lawmakers unveil a bipartisan bill that aims to ban TikTok in the U.S. Man, I feel like that might be a smart idea, dude.
That's crazy.
Imagine all these little young bucks. I mean, they say in China and these other places on TikTok, it's all learning TikToks. It's all TikToks that are going to kind of make you smarter. But the TikToks here are just like kids, 4 years old, 5 years old, just like just seriously getting fucking brainwashed.
Yeah, I'm older. I don't have TikTok. I have Instagram, which I'm not on too much, you know? Uh-huh. So, but I do remember back when Trump tried to ban it, right? Because it's a Chinese company and they're gathering intel and so forth. So I don't know too much about it. But I do know I've heard some articles and read some articles and podcasts about even TikTok, Instagram, any social media. The people that created all that stuff, they won't even let their kids go on it or no more than 10, 15 minutes or whatever. Mm-hmm. they know how bad it is. They know how addicting it is and things like that. You know, like how many times have you scrolled through all your stuff and you're still going back in there? It's just a habit, you know.
And for us adults, like...
Yeah. Imagine if we were 16, 15, 13-year-old kids.
Or 5, 6 years old.
Yeah.
5, 6 years old.
Getting on that early.
Yeah, kids are 5, 6 years old,
crazy.
just glued to that TikTok. But I think it's, I mean, I've seen in the kids jiu-jitsu program we have, I have some good coaches for the kids jiu-jitsu program. And I think this 4-year-old kid probably 6, 7 months ago came in and he's like shaking from anxiety. He can't even like step on the mats and he can't even talk to the kids and he barely responds to the instructors. And then he starts jiu-jitsu, and Mariah starts working with him, and he starts jiu-jitsu, and now he's competed, and he's won matches in his competition. Now he rolls in here super confident. He like conquered that anxiety. If you have a kid like that, and the parent brings him home every day after school, flops him in front of TikTok, flops him in front of his video games, eating shitty food, and now that kid just has shitty fucking like brain habits to last him the rest of his life. Yep. I'm like, how much for that 4, 5, 6-year-old kid is he gonna learn, and is he gonna get stronger, and it's gonna affect his whole life when he's 18, when he's 20, when he's 20 to 30, and he's gotten these habits and this confidence he's gotten from jiu-jitsu, and he doesn't even barely remember it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think it's so important to put your kid into something like that that's gonna challenge them and make him interact with the other kids and push them and realize it's okay to lose and put him in uncomfortable situations like jiu-jitsu and wrestling. I think it can really fucking change some kids' life, dude.
Agreed. I think martial arts is so important when it comes to discipline, learning to fail, telling it's okay, get back up, setting goals, you know, that if you look at any black belt in any art, it's just putting in the time. They're not, you know, you don't have to be talented to be a black belt. Just take commitment and time, right? Mm-hmm. I remember I had a kid when I owned a gym in California. He had such bad anxiety. He'd corner. His brother was a fighter, and then he would corner with us, and he literally almost passed out walking out. Then he started taking classes. Then he was okay, and I go, "Hey, Johnny, I'm going to have you warm up the class." And he'd go in the restroom, just literally panic mode. He wouldn't come out. But after, I don't know how long it took, 6 months or a year, Johnny, I'm going to have you go warm up the class again. And eventually, this kid's teaching classes. Now he's, training amateur fighters and so forth. But if we didn't he wouldn't do it the first time, wouldn't come out of the bathroom and so forth. But eventually kept on asking, didn't push, just waited a week and then asked him again, you can do it. You walk out in all these big fights and so forth. And, one thing led to another and he overcame those fears.
God, that makes you feel
good, know what I mean?
Doesn't it?
And yeah, 100%. And that's a credit to martial arts, not credit to me or anything, It's just a little bit of encouragement and then, a little push. But,
I mean, that's what makes it fun coming in the gym and just seeing people that come in and they're nerdy and they're not very social or they're not very confident, and just watching their confidence build over the years and them start to get to a confident place. Probably a little less so for you now because you're just working right now pretty much with guys in the UFC. How do they run it over there at Fight Ready? Do you run any of the practices?
I do. When there's bigger fights, it's kind of harder to do team practice and stuff like that because we're so committed to, the camps and so forth. But I love running practices, honestly. I almost love it equally or if not more than just doing one-on-one with like the high-level, big-name guys. Mm-hmm. It's so fun to see, like, you see that light bulb click once in a while and, oh, my gosh, this makes sense or things like that. The energy level is so much different, teaching 25 guys as opposed to one and so forth. Yeah, it's obviously more fun working with the high-level athletes, but, yeah, it's something about I like the team atmosphere.
Yeah, me too. Because over at Fight Ready, is there a team practice every day?
Yeah, 5 days a week.
Team practice every day, and then kind of who's coaching those? Is it Angel or is it Santino? Or?
Yeah, we have Angel Cejudo for the wrestling. We have Santino DeFranco. He's the jack of all trades. He does a little bit of everything. And then I do the striking. Alan Vyers, he does the boxing. But he's been out. I don't know if you heard, his wife's been sick and stuff like that. So, it's been mostly the three of us right now.
So have you got to get any work with Demetrius Johnson?
Yes and no. He asked a few questions here and there, but didn't get pad work with him. And
how about when Jon Jones came in?
I work with Jon a lot. Yeah.
And Abbott, he's a fucking freak or what?
He is. He's big, strong. Shoulders hurt, legs hurt when he kicks.
Dude, if I literally, if I had someone, I couldn't hold pads for him. My shit, I don't know, bro. I've torn both my biceps. I know, dude. I don't know what the fuck it is, but God, I feel bad for Eric Nixick, who's got to hold pads for Francis Ngannou.
Oh, I can only imagine, right?
Fuck that, dude.
But Demetrius, this is how, and John is the same thing. These guys are so humble. Like Demetrius asking if he can take classes, or asking, like, just bowing. Like, he's a real martial artist, And when guys like them, they come in, I'm trying to pick their brain.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean? I'm like, hey, what do you do this? What do you do this? And then they're like, hey, I'm here to learn. You tell me. Like, just so humble. Like,
yeah, it's fucking unreal. Badass. I mean, I can't wait for Jon Jones to come back. I kind of hope it's not Curtis Blades. I mean, Curtis Blades is going to be just this guy who cuts to 265. Right. He's going to come out and double leg him. I mean, it'll still be sweet, but Jon Jones versus Stipe, or Jon Jones versus Francis.
Yeah, we want a big fight for him.
Come on, it's got to happen. One of those.
I want to see the
Ngannou
fight.
Yeah. And how good is, like, you put on 30, 40 pounds of muscle. How long does it take for that muscle to get in shape? And especially in shape for 25 minutes.
I'll tell you this. When we hit pads, mitts, and, shields or whatever, usually most guys will do about 30, 45 minutes, right? We gone over an hour plus, and he's like, oh, let's go a little more. I'm like, bro, it's been an hour 20.
Like, just a freak like that.
Yeah.
Damn.
So I don't think conditioning or cardio will be a factor for him. To me, I think Jon Jones is the best of all times. I think Khabib is great. He's undefeated. But if you go off title defenses and who he's fought and everything else,
not competitive.
He's the GOAT. He when we say GOAT, like every GOAT, he's the real GOAT. He's the GOAT of all GOATs.
I 100% agree. I mean, you look at his fucking resume. It's like you can't.
It's not even close.
Not even fucking. Not even close, dude.
Yeah.
So, I mean, hopefully he comes back in July. Hopefully it's a mega card in July. Hopefully we got Suge versus Henry in July. We got Conor versus whoever, and then we got Jon Jones versus whoever.
How sick would that be?
That'll be fucking sweet.
How cool would that be?
So is Henry looking to get 2-3 fights, or is he looking to stay in for a bit?
He's looking to stay in for a bit. Everyone thinks he's going to be one and out and stuff like that. I know people are saying that he's fighting because of money, but I can tell you he's been really smart with his money. He's invested in property, real estate. He's got residual income. He's got good sponsors. He does well.
Has it changed for him, the family life, having a wife and a kid now? Has it made it maybe focus a little more? Because, I mean, being single and having all those accolades and having Scottsdale right there and all these sexy chicks right here, I'm sure it'd be fucking hard to focus. But have you seen any change in it?
I think no. I think he's more driven than anything. I think you hear most fighters when they have kids and now they know what they're fighting for and they have a little bit of a drive and so forth. But Henry's Henry. When it comes to winning, that dude is selfish, man. Mm-hmm. When he gets into fight camp, I think the fight is first and everything else comes second. That's Henry.
I think with most elite guys, it's the same with Suge. It's like you gotta be just so fucking crazy selfish, and I think that's the way it is.
Yeah.
But sweet, bro. Well, I'll let you get out of here. Thanks so much for coming in. Fucking badass.
Thank
you.
And then
what do you got anything? Do you got anything to promote? You got your EddieChaw.com striking system?
Yeah, we have that. Well, the company I have, we're here, Core Limited. These guys are dope. They're more of a Korean brand, KORE Limited. I love their gear. That's like my favorite clothing brand right now.
Fuck yeah.
Shout out to those guys.
And then the Optimal Carnivore, we'll have the Amazon link in the bio and then code RedHawk10 if you guys want to support the pod. Give these supplements out. I mean, a try. They're fucking quality top to bottom. And I really feel like you might be able to feel a difference. So, all right. Thanks, Eddie.
Thank you.
See you guys next week. Love you. Bye-bye.